You feel lost when the map in your head no longer matches the road under your feet. Plans fade, effort scatters, and every path looks the same. The mind hunts for a dramatic fix. The truth is smaller and stronger. Direction returns when you choose one honest action and repeat it long enough to let it change you. This is a story about that kind of action, and the lesson that stays when noise is gone. Aiden drifted through his days like a boat without an anchor. He was competent at many things and committed to none. He jumped between tasks, chased new ideas, and quit when the rush wore off. His desk held half-finished notebooks and abandoned lists. He slept late, then sprinted through afternoons, then collapsed into nights that did not restore him. People told him he had potential. The word felt heavy and hollow. If potential were real, why did nothing finish? If talent mattered, why did results refuse to appear? One gray evening he walked until the city thinned to warehouses and rail lines. A small workshop glowed behind a dusty window. Inside, shelves held simple tools. A woman with steady hands filed a rough edge from a metal frame. The air smelled like oil and clean wood. She glanced up and nodded for him to enter. He said he was only passing through. She kept working and said he was welcome to sit. Silence filled the room in a useful way. Aiden watched her finish the frame, check each side, and place it with others that matched it exactly. No speeches, no hurry. Only accuracy repeated. The steadiness calmed him more than any advice had. He told her he was lost. He told her he could not pick a path, because each path seemed to ask for a version of himself that did not exist yet. She set down the file and spoke a simple truth. Identity follows evidence. You become the kind of person you prove yourself to be each day. When you cannot see a future, build a present that makes one likely. Then she shared a lesson she had learned early and never put down. She called it the compass rule. Pick one practice that strengthens you in 3 ways at once. It must clear your head, it must build a skill, and it must serve someone else. Do it daily at the smallest sustainable dose. Tie it to a cue that already exists. Track it where your eyes cannot ignore it. Add nothing until it feels automatic. To make the idea visible, she told him a parable. A town sat at the edge of a wide plain. Storms pushed travelers off course. The town elders taught a method that always found true direction. Each person carried a 3-sided stone called a stead. One side sharpened the mind. One side shaped the hand. One side warmed the heart. When storms rose, the traveler set the stead on the ground. If the mind side faced up, the traveler breathed slowly and named the next physical action. If the hand side faced up, the traveler built or repaired one small thing in reach. If the heart side faced up, the traveler helped the nearest person for 1 minute. After the action, the traveler stood still and listened. The earth seemed to tilt back into place. Trails appeared that had been hidden. The trick was not magic. It was the power of doing one grounded thing that sent a signal through the fog. Direction did not arrive as an announcement. It returned as the next step. Aiden felt the shape of that truth even before he believed it. He asked how to start. She kept it exact. Choose a stead action that fits your life. Keep it small enough to do on your worst day. Tie it to a cue you cannot miss. Track it with a visible mark. If you break the chain, restart the next day without apology. He chose a simple set. Mind side, 5 slow breaths and 1 page in a plain notebook. Hand side, craft 1 clean paragraph for a guide he wanted to write about helpful tools. Heart side, send a short note of thanks or help to one person. He linked the routine to his morning coffee. Mug on the counter meant steadying breaths. Steam rising meant 1 page. First sip meant 1 paragraph. Last sip meant 1 message. He taped a calendar on the wall and drew a small triangle for each day the stead was complete. Day 1 felt almost silly. 5 breaths seemed too light to matter. 1 page looked like scribbles. 1 paragraph did not move any project in a visible way. 1 message to a friend felt small. He marked the triangle anyway. Day 2 fit without resistance. Day 3 met a late start and a headache. He did it at noon. Day 4 tried to pull him into excuses. He did it at night. By the end of the week, he felt the first click of alignment. His mornings no longer started with scattered tasks. They started with proof that he could steer. 2 weeks passed. The notebook pages gained structure. The guide paragraphs began to connect. The messages he sent opened doors he did not plan. A former classmate shared a problem at work that Aiden could solve with a short template. He wrote it and sent it. The classmate used it and asked for more. Aiden did not leap into a grand plan. He kept the triangle. He guarded the dose. The workshop owner's rule held firm. Identity follows evidence. He chose to earn different evidence. On a wet Tuesday, he missed the morning cue. He was pulled into errands and noise. At night, he stood in his apartment and stared at the empty box on the calendar. He felt the old spiral reach for him. The rule cut it off. When you break the chain, lay the next link without drama. He did the breaths. He wrote the page. He drafted the paragraph. He sent a message to a neighbor who had lost a job, offering a simple resume format. The triangle went on the calendar. No heroic feelings, only continuity. The guide grew. What began as scattered notes became a clean booklet on simple systems for ordinary days. He titled it Plain Tools for Real Work. Each page described one move that reduced friction. He kept the sentences short and the steps testable. He released a free version to friends and the few people who had written back to his morning notes. A small group told him the booklet helped them begin projects that had stalled for months. Their results fed his focus more than any praise had. The stead practice was doing all three jobs. His head cleared when he wrote a page before screens. His hand learned structure as the paragraphs stacked. His heart stayed open through the daily act of service. The compass rule worked because it did not depend on mood. Aiden returned to the workshop to thank the woman. She was fitting a hinge into a cabinet door. He noticed how each movement considered the whole. She asked him what he had learned that she had not said. He told her that two truths surprised him. First, small stability scales. When a day begins with one reliable act, the rest of the day resists chaos. Second, clarity compounds. The more he wrote one page of honest thought, the less he wanted to perform fake effort. He began to choose work that mattered because his morning self had already chosen honesty. She nodded and handed him a thin piece of wood with a small triangle carved into it. "Keep this by your mug," she said. "When storms come, do one steady thing. The road will answer." The next month brought a test. A contract job he counted on vanished. Fear returned. The old urge to scatter rose like heat. The stead practice held. He woke, breathed, filled the page, built the paragraph, sent the message. He did not pretend to be calm. He chose to be consistent. He posted 3 sections from his guide and offered a short workshop on setting up a personal system without apps or hacks. A handful of people signed up. He taught them the stead idea with different names: mind piece, hand piece, heart piece. He watched as faces softened when they realized they could start small and still be serious. The workshop paid a bill. More important, it planted a path that matched his days. Weeks turned into a pattern he could trust. He added a second block in the afternoon that he called the build hour. He guarded it with the same rules: no drama, clear dose, repeatable steps. The guide became a series. The series became a service he could deliver with confidence because he had formed it the same way he asked others to begin. Evidence first, identity second. Aiden's life did not become easy. It became directional. He was no longer lost because he carried his own coordinates. He no longer waited for a perfect plan because he had a perfectible practice. He stopped introducing himself as someone with potential and began to speak in terms of proof. "I do this every day. These pages exist. These people were helped. These results came from this simple method." The stead practice did not make him louder. It made him aligned. If your days feel like scattered papers in wind, apply the lesson that saved him. Anchor your mornings to a 3-part action that clears the head, trains the hand, and serves a person. Tie the action to a cue you already meet. Mark it where you can see it. Protect the smallest dose with the fiercest discipline. When you slip, return without ceremony. Let the evidence pile up until your mind stops arguing and starts recognizing who you are. When you feel lost, remember this powerful lesson. Direction is not found. Direction is built. You build it by repeating one steady act until it creates a groove your feet cannot help but follow. You do not need permission. You need a cue, a dose, and a mark on the wall. The fog will thin, the road will answer. The map in your head will match the ground again because you drew both with the same hand, one small line each day, until they became the same thing.